Chapter 1, Section 7 of Cup of Gold. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit Librivox.org. Read by Kurt from Tucson, Arizona. Cup of Gold by John Steinbeck. He had crept from the house in the false dawn and started briskly walking on the road to Cardiff. There was a frozen, frightened thing in his heart, and a wondering whether he wanted to go at all. To his mind, the fear had argued that if he waited to say goodbye, he would not be able to leave the stone house, not even for the Indies. The sky was graying as he went by pastures where he had tossed and played, and by the quarry where was the cave in which he and his friends acted the delightful game of robbers, with Henry always the wild wag, Twim-shone Ketty by acclamation. The mountains stood sharply before him, like cardboard things, and along their rims a silver fringe. A little wind of dawn blew down the slopes, fresh and sweet-smelling, bearing the rich odor of moistened earth and leaves. Horses whinnied shrilly at him as he passed, then came close and gently touched him with their soft noses. And coveys of birds, feeding on belated night-crawlers in the half-dark, flew up at his approach with startled protests. By sunup, there were new miles behind him. As the yellow ball slid from behind the peaks, coloring all the tattered clouds of the mountains, Henry drew a thick curtain down against the past. The pain and loneliness that had walked with him in the dark were pushed back and left behind him. Cardiff was ahead. He was coming to new country which he had never seen before, and below the morning horizon, faint and glorious, seemed to glow the green crown of the Indies. He passed through villages whose names were unknown to him, friendly little clusters of rude huts, and the people staring at him as at a stranger. It was a joyous thing to young Henry. Always he had stared at others who were strangers, dreaming their destinations and the delicious mystery that sent them forth. The name of stranger made them grand beings with mighty purposes, and now he was a stranger to be thought about and stared at with a certain reverence. He wanted to shout, "I'm on my way to the Indies," to widen their dull eyes for them and raise their respect. Silly, spineless creatures, he thought them, with no dream and no will to leave their sodden, dumpy huts. The land changed. He was coming out of the mountains to a broad, unbounded country of little rolls and flatlands. He saw large burrows like the holes of tremendous gophers, and dirty black men coming out of them with sacks of coals on their backs. The miners emptied their sacks in a pile on the ground, and then walked back into the burrows. He noticed that they stooped when they walked, as though the heavy bags were still bearing them down. Midday came, and a long, clear afternoon, and still he trudged on. There was a new odor in the air, the sweet, compelling breath of the sea. He wanted to break into a run toward it like a thirsty horse. In the late afternoon, an army of black clouds drew over the sky. A wind rushed out with snow in its breath, and the grasses bowed before it. Still he went on into the gathering storm until it was armed with sleet, which pricked his face viciously, and until the cold went piercing through his jacket. There were occasional houses to either side of the road, but Henry would seek shelter and food at none of them. He did not know the customs of this place, nor the prices of things, and his £5 must be intact when he came at last to Cardiff. At length, when his hands were blue and his face raw with the wild sleet, he crawled into a lonely stone barn filled with the summer's hay. It was warm there and quiet after the screaming of the wind in his ears. The hay was sweet with the honey dried in its stems. Henry burrowed into the soft bed and slept. It was dark night when he awakened. Half dreaming, he remembered where he was, and at once the thoughts which he had shut from him the day before thronged back with clamoring, strident voices. "You're a fool," said one. "Remember the big room and the pikes and the bright fire? Where are they now? Oh, you will not see them any more. They are gone out like things of dreams, and you do not even know where dreams go. You are a fool." "No, no, listen to me, think of me. Why did you not wait for Elizabeth? Were you afraid?" "Yes, you were afraid. This boy is a coward, brothers. He is afraid of a small girl with yellow hair, a tenant's daughter." A sad, slow voice broke in. "Think of your mother, Henry. She was sitting straight and still when you last saw her, and you did not go to her. You only looked from the doorway as you went. Perhaps she has died in her chair with the look of hurt in her eyes. How can you tell? And Robert, your own father, will you think of him now, lonely and sad and lost? It's your doing, Henry, because you wanted to go to the Indies. You did not think of anyone else." "And what do you know of the future?" asked a tiny, fearful voice. "It will be cold, and perhaps you will freeze, or some stranger may kill you for your money, little as it is. Such things have happened. Always there has been someone to look after you and to see that you were comfortable. Oh, you will starve. You will freeze. You will die. I am sure of it." Then the noises of the barn edged in among his tormentors. The storm was past, but a breeze sighed around corners with infinite ghostly sadness. Now and again it voiced a little wail of sorrow. There was a creaking in the hay, as though every straw squirmed and tried to move stealthily. Bats flitted about in the dark, gnashing their tiny teeth, and the mice were screaming horribly. Bats and mice seemed to be glaring at him from obscurity with small, mean eyes. He had been alone before, but never so thoroughly alone, among new things, in a place he did not know. The terror was growing and swelling in his breast. Time had become an idling worm which crawled ahead the merest trifle, stopped and waggled its blind head, and crawled again. It seemed that hours passed over him like slow sailing clouds while he lay shivering with fright. At last an owl flew in and circled above him, screeching maniacally. The boy's overstrung nerves snapped, and he ran whimpering from the barn and down the road toward Cardiff. End of Chapter 1, Section 7.